One of the biggest difficulties people have in the self-growth or self-help or the psychological model of creating greatness lies in the arena of when they begin to do something new. They've read a book, they've been to a seminar, they're ready to practice something new about their life. As they begin to practice it, when they run into difficulty, they go, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to do this, or it begins to feel worse before it feels better. Something somehow, somewhere in the process for them breaks down. They record, oh, this wasn't meant for me. This isn't the right tool. I'm still missing something. They might even record it's them, that everything they try, they can't ever learn anything or do anything well. And in order to help you understand how you really learn, I want to show you a tool that dates back. The earliest observations and awareness of this tool resides in the Greek mythology days of Socrates and Aristotle, and it's called the conscious competence curve. And what I'd like you to look at is, we look at two axes. On the x-axis, we're going to look at consciousness, where 0 being you have no consciousness at all, and 10 being you have perfect consciousness. And on the y-axis, the same 0 to 10 applies, only this is about competence, meaning you have 0 competence here, and at the upper end of the axis you have full competence. So where all learning begins is in the bottom right quadrant. Low conscious, low competence. And what that really means is you don't know that you don't know something. And when you discover there's some new tool, some new value, something that you want to learn, you now know. Once you know what you don't know, then you become very determined to learn it. And you begin the mechanical competency of learning that task. So whether, if, as an example, a metaphor, it's a golf swing or maybe a musician learning a new song on his instrument, you're going to go through the mechanical steps of learning the competency. So think of the musician that plays his instrument and his song over and over again and adds a score and adds, it start, okay, I almost had it. Ooh, it's mechanically hard. Or the golfer that stands on the tee box and thinks of 300 swing thoughts. Is my knees bent? Is my elbow straight? What's the angle of my hand? Where's my head? Am I too open? Am I too? All of those thoughts are conscious competence. You know what the steps are that you should be doing to hit this golf ball, to play this song, to learn this self-help task. But in the beginning, as you're consciously competent and as you work harder on getting competence, you're going to be moving up the curve. But in general, if at the beginning and sometimes when you're doing an instrument or golf swing, you know that, well, I'm not expected to hit a golf ball like Jack Nicklaus, or I'm not supposed to play, a musical instrument like a maestro, you'll work at it. But when you're doing self-help or psychological topics, it's kind of like, well, they told me about towards and away, or they told me about spilled milk. I should be able to do this instantly. But the emotional richness and context of being a human, all the psychological patterns that come to play, it is a very rich and complex task. And counterintuitively, you can do it 90% of the time when life is easy, but when life gets really hard, really intense, it's a crisis, that's when you really need the new tool. That's when it's absolutely the hardest to perform. And so the conscious competent curve in psychology or in a self-help model means that while you begin to practice it, for many of you, it will feel too hard. You'll just quit. Oh, I can't get this, or this doesn't work for me, or this isn't working for me. It sounded easy when that speaker did it or when I read it in the book, but it's too hard for me. I quit. Do not quit. Know that you are on the conscious competence curve. And for many people, when they finally get consciously competent and they can do it in a crisis, it still feels hard, because they're consciously having to work through the 7 habits, the 11 principles, the 21 pillars to success, and it feels hard even when you're good. But understand that learning does not stop at conscious competence. It actually is completed when you are unconsciously competent. And what that means is you stand on the tee box and you just swing your club. Or for the musician, he plays the song, he plays the song, he plays the song, and there's this magical moment when he plays the song and he goes, I got it. That was perfect. That was amazing. And he'll play it again, and he'll play it again, and each time it's just like, it's so smooth, it's so easy. And now he can play the song when he's talking to somebody. He can do the swing when there's distractions in the gallery. You will discover that unconscious competence for psychological tools is that rarefied place where you can hear the emotions, you can feel the thought patterns, you can understand the psychology. And so as you ponder this tool, know that when you are trying to grow psychologically, sometimes when it's hard, sometimes when it's easy, there are many complex patterns at play. And to practice these tools, to live these tools, to become the greatest version of you, it's easier than you think. Don't allow the fact that when you begin to practice a new psychology, that it feels hard or it feels awkward to you. Don't allow that to stop you. You will get better. You will learn. Just as when you're practicing unconscious competence with anxiety and fear and pain, and you do it naturally, these new patterns with simple practice will become just as easy, and you will become just as fluent and as competent in these patterns. And in that place, that's where even crises can become easy. Come to my website, call me, ask for more help. I'll help you place this tool in your life to achieve the results and outcomes that you richly deserve, you know that you want, and absolutely belong